एवरीवन। बेटा मैट्रिसेस क्या होती है? इट इज सिंपली अ रेक्टेंगुलर अरेंजमेंट. इट इज नॉट अ वैल्यू. आई एम अगेन रिपीटिंग. इट इज जस्ट द अरेंजमेंट ऑफ वैल्यूज दैट इज पुट इन rectangular way. Like there are few examples, like first one is 1 minus 1, then there is 4 2 minus 3 and 0. They are not expressing any value, they are just the arrangements. So whenever you write this arrangement has to be rectangular. Rectangular in the sense बोले तो rectangle has opposite sides equal. ठीक है बेटे? तो इसमें क्या होगा कि जो आपके पास हॉरिजॉन्टल वैल्यूज जो आप लिखते हो उसको आप रो कहते हो. तो जो पहली रो में जितने एलिमेंट आ गए, जैसे फर्स्ट मैट्रिक्स में पहली रो में 2 एलिमेंट है, सेकंड मैट्रिक्स में भी पहली रो में 2 एलिमेंट है, थर्ड में भी पहली रो में 2 एलिमेंट है. सिंपल एग्जांपल है, आगे जाके हम और भी ऑर्डर्स देखेंगे. तो अगर फर्स्ट रो में 2 आ गए, उसके बाद अगर आप कोई रो लिखोगे तो उसमें भी 2 ही एलिमेंट्स होंगे. यू कैन नॉट हैव 1 और 3. ठीक है बेटा जी? सो मैट्रिक्स इज जस्ट अ रेक्टेंगुलर अरेंजमेंट ऑफ एलिमेंट्स. राइट बॉस? अब इस रेक्टेंगुलर अरेंजमेंट में 2 चीज़ें होती हैं. वन इज the values which are written horizontally and second the values that are written vertically. हॉरिजॉन्टल में जो वैल्यूज लिखी जाती हैं उनको आप कहते हो रो, ROW, रो. और जो वर्टिकल में लिखी जाती हैं उनको आप क्या कहते हो? कॉलम. So that is, if you talk about this value, so this is row, right? And if you talk about this value, this one, so this is column. Okay bete? So horizontal one is row and the vertical one is column, right? Now there is the first thing that we must know is the order of a matrix. The order of the matrix is actually number of rows into number of columns. Like if you look at the first matrix here, it is a matrix of 3 rows. The 1 to 4 is the first row, 4 minus 1 5 is the second row, 3 3 3 is the third row. And similarly, if you talk about columns, 1 4 3 is the first column, 2 minus 1 3 is second, 4 5 3 is the third column. So this is a matrix of the order 3 by 3. If you talk about the next matrix, that is the number 2. So second matrix, right? This matrix I'm talking about, now it has got how many rows? 1 1 3 minus 3, that is first row. 0 0 3 2, that is 2. So it has got 2 rows. And how many columns are there? 4 columns. So this is a matrix of the order 2 by 4. All that is already written there on the PPD. And the last one has got how many rows? Only 1 row. And how many columns? It has got 2 columns, right? So order of the matrix is nothing but it is just number of rows into number of columns. The shortcut of learning this is very simple. See, M comes from Mercedes, right? So in order to have a Mercedes car, you must have its RC, registration certificate लेना पड़ता है ना गाड़ी के लिए. So that is how you write the order of the matrix. So whenever you write the order of the matrix, it is row into column. So पहले रो लिखी जाएगी, बाद में कॉलम लिखी जाएगी. एक थोड़ा सा टेक्निकल इशू रहता है. And when you take the product of that row and column, the product of row into column will give you actually the number of elements in the matrix. इसको हम entries of the matrix भी कहते हैं. जैसे पहला मैट्रिक्स है, what is the order? 3 by 3. You multiply 3 with 3, what do you get? 9. So how many entries are there in the first matrix? 9. Second one is of the order 2 by 4. So how many entries are there? Obviously 8. And the third one has got 2 entries, right? The first thing we must know is that a matrix is a rectangular arrangement of elements. What we talk about is only real elements. And the second, what is the order of the matrix? Order is the number of rows into number of columns. And if you take that product will actually give you the total number of entries or elements in the matrix. Now this is a very general notation of a matrix. How do you write the matrix in journal? This is something very important to understand. So here what have we done here is we have taken a matrix of the order m by n. You can see here written, sorry, I have done it wrong. So you can see here is a matrix of order m into n. So it has m rows and n columns. If you go like this, so this is the first row, this is the second row, and goes like this. This will be the mth row. And similarly, if you talk about columns, this is the first column, this is the second column, and this is some jth column, some arbitrary general, and this is the nth column, right? And whenever you talk about the entry of an element, see this entry is what generally written as A11, means it comes as the first row, right? And first column will give you 1 1. Then it is 1 2, first row, second column will give you 1 2. 1 3 would be first row, second sorry, first row, third column will give you 1 3. ठीक है बेटा जी. So this is how do you write in journal. So a matrix is generally denoted by like this. In a square bracket you write this a, small a, and then you write a subscript I and j. I stands for the number of rows and j stands for number of columns. Let me say if we have two rows, so I will take the value 1 and 2, and if we have got three columns, so j will take the value 1 2 3. The entries you can apply the concept of a permutation and combination. I can have 1 and 2, j has 1 2 3. तो पहले 1 के साथ कॉम्बिनेशन बना लो, कार्टेशियन प्रोडक्ट जो करते थे 1 1 1 2 1 3, और फिर 2 के साथ 2 1 2 2 2 3, तो टोटल एलिमेंट्स कितने हो जाएंगे 2 इंटू 3 इज 6. ठीक है बेटा. तो ये जर्नल है. दिस इज एक्चुअली हाउ do you write a matrix in journal, right? So that is now there are various types of matrices. So if there is a matrix that has only one column, that is number of columns is equal to 1, it can have any number of rows. So any matrix of the order m into 1 is said to be a column matrix, right? Any matrix where number of columns is 1, like the first one has got how many rows, 1 2 3, 3 rows 1 column, its order is 1 by 3. So I'm sorry, 3 by 1. If you talk about the next one, how many rows are there, 2, and how many columns are there, 1, so order is 2 by 1. If you talk about the last one, what is the number of rows, so number of rows are what, m, and number of columns is 1, the order is m into 1, right? Similarly there will be row matrix. So row matrix will be the matrix which will have only one row, it can have any number of columns. A row matrix will be of the order 1 into m and whatever you want to write. और कभी मैंने बताया था मर्सिडीज के लिए आपको आरसी चाहिए. आर स्टैंड्स फॉर रो, सी स्टैंड्स फॉर कॉलम. ठीक है, तो पहले वाला रो होगा, दूसरा वाला कॉलम होगा. तो अगर एक रो बनेगा तो रो मैट्रिक्स कहेंगे, और अगर एक कॉलम बनेगा तो कॉलम मैट्रिक्स कहेंगे. रो कौन सा अरेंजमेंट होता है, हॉरिजॉन्टल. एक सिंपल कोरिलेशन भी है, गन्ने के रस को रो कहते हैं आप लोग. और जनरली आपने देखा होगा लोकल मेथड में जैसे गन्ने का रस निकलता है तो उस चीज़ को हॉरिजॉन्टली ही गन्ने को मशीन के अंदर लगाया जाता है. खैर, दिस इज जस्ट a correlation, you can consider it if you want to. Now let's come to the next type, rectangular matrix. We already know that any arrangement it has to be of the rectangular type. Now what is a special type of rectangle? That is important. A special type of rectangle is when length is equal to breadth. That is when number of rows is equal to number of columns. It becomes a square matrix. It becomes a square matrix. So abhi tak humne kya padha? What is a row matrix? That has only one row, it can have any number of columns. What is a column matrix? That has only one column, it can have any number of rows. Question ये आता है, can we have a matrix which is a row as well as column matrix? Of course, a matrix of order 1 by 1. A matrix which has only one row and one column is a matrix which is row as well as column matrix. No other matrix can be a matrix that can be simultaneously both row as well as column matrix. And now after that we talked about square matrix. So it's again a simple concept of geometry. Length is equal to breadth when number of rows is equal to number of columns. Okay, that time you call the matrix as a square matrix. Now there's another interesting thing. There is a term known as diagonal that we define in square matrices. I'll take one very simple example. If I take a square matrix of order 2 by 2, it will have two elements A11, A12, A21, A22. It will have four elements. So this thing is said to be the diagonal of a square matrix. Diagonal is actually a terminology that we define only for square matrices. This is what we used to say I and J, right? This was I and this was J. So when I is equal to j, that is the positioning of row and column is same, that particular element, okay, in a square matrix is actually said to be the element of a diagonal. So here a11 and a22 this is the diagonal of this matrix, right? And diagonal, so the diagonal matrix is a matrix where you can, diagonal matrix is a matrix where all other entries other than diagonal are zero. So what has it defined here is very simple. This is a thing that is to be understood. Aij equal to 0 if I is not equal to j. So actually these are the entries for which I is equal to j. These are to be, so aij is not equal to 0 whenever I is equal to j. This is something to be taken care of. Okay, so diagonal is defined only. This is what is called principal diagonal. And a diagonal matrix you also write like this is 1 to 1 to this. You could have written it like this also, dij, okay, then curly bracket 1 2 3, and then you could have closed it. Means it's a diagonal matrix with diagonal entries as 1 2 and 3, right? So diagonal matrix hota hai ye hamare paas. And then we'll come to the rest of the, yes, this null matrix is to be understood. Null, that is 0, and all of us know that 0 is not a value, it is a name. So 0 matrix is actually matrix whose all entries are 0. One important thing that we need to understand is that it can be matrix of any order, need not to be a square matrix. Like we will be defining one thing more, that is unity matrix or identity matrix, right? So 0 matrix is actually identity matrix under addition. All of us know what is 0. Any element that adds, if adds to any other element of the set, you get the same element, right? So that is what is additive identity. ठीक है जी. तो नल मैट्रिक्स कहते हैं, जीरो मैट्रिक्स कहते हैं जिसकी सारी एंट्रीज क्या हो, जीरो हो. इसका ऑर्डर कुछ भी हो सकता है, राइट? एंड नीड नॉट टू बी स्क्वायर मैट्रिक्स. Now let's talk about the interesting part, basic operations on matrices. First thing we must know is what are comparable matrices. So there's a word comparable. So comparable matrices are the matrices who have matrices with same order. Two matrices whose order is same, they are said to be comparable matrices. If the order of matrices is sorry, not same, you cannot say they are comparable matrices. So one very interesting thing that I would like to discuss with you all here is that there is a term C, and this is how do we write. C on the left hand side stands for comparable matrices, and C on the right hand side stands for subtraction, equality, and addition. So my dear friends, you can add, subtract, or equate two matrices only if they are of same order. So that's why I told you the definition of comparable matrices. So two matrices are said to be comparable if they have same order. And if you want to add, subtract, or equate two matrices, they need to be of same order. If two matrices are not of same order, you cannot add, equate, or subtract them. This is to be taken care of, please. This is very, very important. This is regarding the first operation. So now he has quoted example here like this. A is given a 3 by 3 matrix and B is another matrix that is given to us. So what is the first entry of A is 1. What is the first entry of B? That is B11. So B11 will be equal to 1. If somebody asks you what is the value of B23, so you look at that is second row and third column. So what you do here is you look at the columns. If you want to find B23, that is second row and third column. So what is the value? 0. So B23 will be equal to 0. That is very, very simple. You can do it quite easily. Okay, so this will be something too interesting for you to do. And then after this we'll have addition and subtraction. I have already told you how to add and subtract matrices. Like these are two matrices given to us. They have to be of same order. If you look at the order of the first matrix, so what is the order of the first matrix? This is a matrix of order 2 by 3. This has to be of order 2 by 3. And when you add, what happens? The corresponding entries get added. The first element of first row and first column gets added to the first element, sorry, gets added to the element of first row and first column of second matrix. Similarly, second matrix का first row और second column वाला entry will get added to दूसरे वाला first row और second column. 3 plus 5 will make 8. It's very simple. That is, you add the corresponding elements. And addition of matrices is commutative. And you know what is commutative? That is, even if you reverse them. So matrices are generally denoted by capital letters, capital A and capital B. So if you write A plus B or you write B plus A, you get the same resultant. Okay, so in addition, if you change their order, the resultant will not change. This is something too important to understand, which is not true in multiplication. And this is what it actually the meaning. What is the meaning of subtraction? That you simply subtract the corresponding entries from each other. ठीक है बेटे. Now something interesting. This is multiplication by a scalar. When you multiply any matrix with some constant, so that constant get multiplied with every entry of the matrix. Like this is the matrix A here, and if you take any value of k, you multiply it with this. Like if you multiply it with, let me say, 2, so you'll write twice of A. So what you'll get is all entries will get double. This will become 6, it will become minus 2, it will become 4, it will become 2, it will become 4, it will become minus 6, it will become 8, it will become 2, and so on. This is very simple. You can do it again, right? So that is what is the meaning of scalar multiplication, right? So we come back to the topic. For this, we are not comparing any two matrices, so order is of no significance. Whatever the order is, when you multiply the matrix with a scalar, ठीक है बेटे, तो जब आप उसको स्केलर से मल्टीप्लाई करोगे तो उसका ऑर्डर वही रहेगा, उसके ऑर्डर को कोई भी फर्क नहीं पड़ेगा. So these are the properties you need to remember. Actually, they're not that much important, but still. So multiplication of matrices we'll be doing in second lecture. So let's recapitulate actually what we have studied. सबसे पहले हमने क्या पढ़ा था? सबसे पहला जो हमारा टॉपिक आया था, that was actually what a matrix is and what is the order of the matrix. And what did we study was, when you multiply the number of rows with the number of columns, you get the total number of elements. अब इसका कन्वर्स क्वेश्चन बोर्ड्स में आता है कभी कभी. Like a matrix has 10 elements, so what are the possible orders it can have? Very simple. Like you take 10 there and then you write 10 as a product of two numbers, so you can write 10 into 1. Obviously 1 into 10 will be there, reverse will always be there. And then with 2 you take 1 10, then with 2 you take 5, and there is no other factor. Obviously if there's 1 10 is there, 10 1 will be there by default. If there is 2 5, then 5 2. तो कितने order बने? 4. And similarly there's a question, if a matrix has 13 elements, so what are the possible orders it can have? So 13 is of course is a prime number, so factors will be 1 into 13 and 13 into 1. So you'll have only two possible matrices for this. ठीक है बेटा. उसके बाद एक क्वेश्चन आ जाता है, ए आई जे एक जनरल एलिमेंट दे रखा होता है, and you ask you write a matrix. So you simply first of all you put the value of I and j to get. जब भी आप मैट्रिक्स फॉर्म कर रहे हो ना, पहले जनरल एंट्रीज लिख लो उसकी, लाइक A11 A12 A13, राइट, वॉट एवर इट इज, जितना भी बनता है. फिर उसके बाद उसकी वैल्यूज पुट कर लो, यू विल गेट द आंसर. And then the next segment that is there in the first exercise is actually based on C. So that is comparison of that is comparable matrices. The two matrices are equal to corresponding entries equal हो जाएंगी, तो उसमें से you will get equations and you will solve to get the value of variables. Alright बेटा. और उसके बाद there is one very interesting MCQ in your book. This is question number 10 I think of 3.1. He says that if you have to use only two entries, 0 and 1, and you have to write a 3 by 3 matrix. So what are the possible number of matrices that you can have? So that's very very important actually. So the concept actually goes like this: if you take a 3 by 3 matrix, ठीक है बेटे, so 3 by 3 matrix में total जगहें कितनी हो गई? नो. और आपके पास ऑप्शन कितने? हाउ मेनी डिस्टिंक्ट डिजिट्स आर देयर? ओनली 2, 0 and 1. सो फर्स्ट प्लेस के लिए कितने ऑप्शंस हैं? 2. सेकंड के लिए 2. थर्ड के लिए 2. अप टू 9 तक कितना होएगा? 2. एंड गो बैक टू फंडामेंटल प्रिंसिपल ऑफ मल्टीप्लिकेशन. तो एंड है ना, तो नो के नो लिखेंगे तो ही तो बनेगा मैट्रिक्स, और का ऑप्शन है नहीं. So we'll write 2 into 2 into 2 into 2 9 times. It will 2 raised power 9. So I think it is 5 1 2. Yes. So that 512 matrices possible. ठीक है बेटे. So please do your exercise 3.1. Whatever the possible doubts are, let me know about it. ठीक है. So I'm there to help you. Wish you all the luck. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay at home, work hard. See you tomorrow.